sinking, but the issue here is intense washboard. I cannot go past 5 miles an hour. But look how beautiful. And some cows. Brady's like, did you see that? Yes, I did. This is just the way it is here with these caminos. At least I know this one is marked well enough that I won't run into any gates. I've been on some lonely roads in my adventures. Utah, no question, has the loneliest roads. Nevada too, but Utah's definitely up there. But this road and some of these roads, some of these caminos in Baja, they seem like they go on forever, and they're very lonely. Unfortunately, I did not like the lagoon. It just wasn't pretty, and I also did not like the vibe. I just didn't like the folks hanging around, and it just gave me the creeps. So, you know, instinct, you know, you got to listen to that. So I just said no way, knowing that I was going to have to put myself through another 18 miles of washboard to get back to the main road. So we're going to do plan B. And actually there was really no plan B, but we just made up one. So we're going to go a little bit further north, and then more wash roads. Sometimes that's just the way it goes. You know, things just don't always work out. You know, Google satellite imagery, you know, you can't see the vibe, you can't see the trash, and so on. So, you know, you risk it. But anyway, onward we go, no big deal. So I'm over here in Ciudad Insurgentes, which is just north of where we were, still along the Pacific. It's a cool little town, and I needed water, so I stopped over here at Planta Purificadora de Agua. The way they do it in Mexico is they have little purification plants, little houses like this for the locals to come get their water. It's filtered through reverse osmosis, and they're everywhere. And this one just happened to have a tortilleria, which is it makes tortillas as well. So what did I do? I got a bunch of tortillas, so water and freshly made tortillas with homemade salsa, rice and beans cooked to order, or not rice and beans, beans cooked to order with some cheese. One thing about having a beard, you're always wiping down your freaking hair. We're officially left the what I would consider the southern part of Baja, where I consider the middle part. And the Bay of Concepcion was phenomenal, and So there's a spot I want to check out there, which is on the east side, of course. But not until we go one more stop north of here. Oh, and one more thing. Total cost for about 50 thin tortillas, freshly made. 2 bags of these of salsa, homemade salsa, cooked to order, with some frijoles and cheese, which is beans and cheese. So everything is hot. Was 80 pesos. So about $4, about $4.50. That's just the way I like it. That's why I always go to the little spots. Let's talk about how I choose my spots. I start off with a broad search, and it also depends where I am. For instance, in the southwest of the USA, I used Campendium and iOverlander. They both give me several things together that I can't get from each one individually as a whole. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't, so I end up using both, and I usually get what I'm looking for. For instance, in the southwest, Campendium has more spots, but they're not as specific for overlanders, you know, that can get into some serious remote places. I also like iOverlander for the ability to show me where I can get water, especially in remote places like Baja. Without question, undisputed, the best app for Baja, for finding spots, if that's your thing, is iOverlander. I also like iOverlander has more specifically, you know, whether 4x4 is needed, you know, what kind of approach is it? Is it soft sand? Is it, you know, compact sand? Is it dirt? Is there a steep section? They seem to be a little bit more, the reviews on the spots, they're a little bit more detailed, which I like. But what I've been doing lately is finding these spots on Google Earth, just spots of interest, You know, sort of my own criteria. You know, of course, you know, privacy, solitude, great view, you know, things like that. Some geological, you know, cool geological thing must exist as well. And, you know, that's, if you know how to read a map, you know, several maps, you can almost tell where points of interest are. I also like to be protected from the wind, so I'll choose coves, you know, that are covered from the windward side. So I park on the leeward side, on the non-windy side of the cove. And you know, these are details that they're not really present on all the reviews, both on Campendium and on iOverlander. Because I don't have Starlink, which I highly recommend if you're coming to Baja, I just didn't know. I just didn't do enough research. I thought I have AT&T. I thought my AT&T phone would give me what I was looking for. AT&T is unlimited in Mexico, data and phone calls, but the cell reception in general is just awful, flat out awful all throughout Baja, especially in remote places. Forget it, nothing. So it's been tough, and looking back, I would have gotten it. So I highly recommend Starlink, the RV mobile package. I think it's like $165 a month for offline navigation, which happens a lot, especially places that I'm going, really remote spots like this one. I mean, I would say 75% of my spots don't have any internet at all, don't have any cell signal, can't make a phone call, can't send a text, and certainly cannot get on the internet. Just nothing. I might be able to climb a large dune and send a text home if I'm lucky, but definitely can't surf. So downloading a Google map to see where you're going next, and you know, doing the research via satellite imagery is impossible that way. So what I've done is, when I'm going through a big city, I'll have a plan, you know, and I'll kind of pull over and do some research, or I'll even spend the night. Like a couple times I went through La Paz just for that reason, just for some internet, to be able to research and kind of formulate a plan for the next month or so. And so that's what I did. And you know, you can download the maps or the spots and the directions, but what I mainly use is Avenza maps. They have a wonderful Baja map, and they show all the caminos, which are really cool. Both primary Camino, which is pretty packed all the way, you know, some difficulty for, you know, towing vehicles, just depending on what you're towing, but really most big rigs are going to avoid the Caminos in general, especially in Baja. Maybe not in the USA, but down here it's too risky. It's way too risky. But I feel like I can do it in the Pando. So they also show secondary Caminos, and they show a Camino, which they cannot guarantee that, you know, exists, or its condition, or its current state. You know, is there a part of it missing? And in general, I've avoided those. Sometimes I've gotten myself in predicaments that I'm forced to take them because the secondary Camino is not accurate, or there's a gate, or so on, and you know, it just, so those can be nerve-wracking, and they're usually very narrow, and that's where you get yourself all scratched up and things like that. Really, that's about it. The offline map, I highly recommend. That's actually really the point of this last segment, is to talk about offline navigation. it's essential here in Baja. Avenza was a great purchase. I think it was 20 bucks for the entire Baja California north and south, and I use it. What I end up doing is, when I'm on the main roads, I use Google Maps. Once I start approaching the remote spot, I usually lose internet. The map doesn't update. It gets blurry. I can't see anything. So I usually switch to the offline navigation mode, which is Avenza, and come in to the spot using that. And sometimes it's all day on Avenza. I've gone 3-4 days without ever using Google Maps. It just doesn't come in. Like coming up the west coast of Baja without going on Highway 1 and the other paved roads, impossible. You need Avenza. Google Earth, Google Maps, you just can't do it unless you have some internet. And even if you have internet, remember, it does not show you the caminos. You might be able to see a path, but you don't know if that path is still there. You don't know the condition of the path. You want to use some sort of reliable source like Avenza for offline navigation, which shows the caminos, all the caminos. Anyway, this is such a beautiful spot. I needed this after yesterday. Complete debacle. Plan A, terrible. I basically just ended up in a maze of offline. What I mean by offline is it wasn't even the paths I ended up on weren't even on Avenza. I just got way off the beaten path, regretted it, could not turn around, and ran into a few guys at their little shacks in the middle of everywhere. They just were not happy to see me. One guy greeted me with a machete, just very hostile. You know, just that body language. And I just told him, you know, where's the playa? Isn't there a playa around here? And you know, he just did not want me going through his place or camping near his place, which was also on the beach. I was really close. I wasn't gonna camp there, but so I turned around, you know, on his property and found the spot I was looking for. Terrible spot, just horrible. And you know, that's what happens when you're reading some things off of just satellite view. You're not going off of any of the apps. You take a risk, but it's you know, there can be a high reward if you find some nice spots like this one, like the one from the previous video. And so we turned around, and I got seriously turned around. I couldn't bring up Google satellite imagery because I didn't have internet, so at least I could see the paths through on the ground. Avenza was no good because I was way past all the caminos. I was in a bad situation. It wore me out. I ended up doing about 60 miles of just terrible caminos yesterday. Could not get myself out of where I was at night. No way, no way. So I just crashed right there. Again, next to some shack, just hoping that I wasn't intruding on anyone's privacy, but nobody bothered me. Woke up this morning and just started heading north.